Today's live stream is going to be a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my experience in Tahbilaran City yesterday. And I will tell you that nothing that I did yesterday, I'm going to go through my itinerary exactly and explain to you that things are completely different now. There is no reason or justification in my mind why things are the way they are, but they are. So what I will tell you is that in the morning I got on a jeepney and I got off in Tahbilaran City. Now this isn't, we're going to go through my Globe experience, 2.5 hours waiting time to get into Globe to upgrade my computer. We're going to go through the computer update. That one is going to be a classic. You are not going to believe what I went through yesterday at the computer store and the subterfuge that they try to pass off as some kind of business knowledge. It's astounding. So we're going to go through my experience at the bakery shop. That's right. We even had an experience at the bakery shop. And then we're going to go through each step of the way as I went through the city to get things done. And the total from my bank, the total disrespect that the bank portrayed to everybody across the board. I mean, Filipino and foreigner alike. I mean, how do these people, you have to wonder how these people became representatives of a bank when even some of the simplest things they're not able to accomplish. So we're going to talk about, not being able to get a haircut. Forget that. Okay, so forget that. But I did want to get a haircut, but so I'm just showing you, look, my hair is still long. The line to get a haircut was also 2 hours. So what the basic premise of this live stream is to tell you that if you're going into Tahbilaran City per se, the shortest line was the grocery store line. There were 3 people in front of me, and that took, there could have been a 4th person that was just exiting the counter. That took 1 hour and 40 minutes. I'm not lying to you. But the 3 people ahead of me, I think they all own stores. So 2 of those 3 people had shopping carts, multiple, two shopping carts, and many small items. So, but that was when there was a line to the left and a line to the right, and the lines were moving at about the same rate. So we're going to go through my experience trying to get a haircut, then the bank experience. There's a big one at the bank. This is a big one. There's a big one coming up. This is a big piece of information I'm going to give you about banking and Globe in the Philippines, just in a few minutes. So then I did go to immigration and I got everything I needed to get accomplished, but it took a month. So that, and I will try to tell you what the fines will be based on what I heard at the immigration office for late fees. So, and when those late fees are going to start to accrue. And then I went, this is in the title, the jeepney situation. Well, we're going to talk about many of the jeepneys were not there at the jeepney terminal yesterday. The jeepney terminal was closed. So let's start where I got off the jeepney. We'll start with the first complication. Started at the bakery. Okay, so we we get off the jeepney, and there was a lot of people in front of the feed store where they just got in like 12 crates of baby chicks. So I made a little 1-minute video. That was cute. So then I go to the bakery, and it seems that every time you go to the bakery, there's a new girl there. And that's okay. So I explained to the lady I want Napolo, which means 10, 5, 10. Napolo of those, Napolo of these, this type of a biscuit. And these are 4 pesos each. But I want Napolo of another type of biscuit plus Napolo. So I want 2, 0. Kasabut? She gives me a thumbs up. So I take out, should have been less than 200 pesos, and it was. So she starts to get a little bag, and I said, no, you need a big bag. So there was no problem with that, because there's going to be 30 biscuits in there, yeah? So she gives me the bag, and it's empty. There's 10 of these, but somehow Napolo 10 plus Napolo 2, 0 went to these 10 biscuits and 2 biscuits of the other variety. Now, I was talking to a man online, and she had already scotch taped the bag closed. So I said, so she told me it would be 40 pesos for those biscuits, and then 10 more pesos for the other 2 biscuits that I wanted, that I pointed to. So she tells me 50 pesos. All right. What is in the bag? Open the bag, please. So she opens the bag, and I reach in the bag and I grab this biscuit, the one I wanted 20 of. 20. 2, 0. 20. Napolo plus sign is universal, even probably from if you came from another country. The plus sign is universal. So Napolo means 10. That I'm sure of. Napolo plus Napolo. Oh, okay. So she gave me the 20 biscuits, and it was 140 pesos, just as it should have been. But why? What didn't the lady understand when I said Napolo? What part of Napolo, which means 10, what part of that did she not understand? It's her language, by the way. It's not Russian or Chinese or anything like that. Okay, so I get my biscuits. Then I go to the bank. This is a good one. Pay attention. This is how they treat, not foreigners, because I was the only foreigner I saw all day until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is how they treat their own people here in the Philippines. This makes no sense. This is the part of it's not going to be a rant. It's going to be an object interpretation of what went on yesterday. The city is in chaos. So I go to the bank and I try to open the door, and it's locked at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, maybe it's a holiday, I'm thinking, or maybe, I don't know, even when the computers are down, there's usually people in the bank. So I look in the bank and I see the guard, and he comes over to the door. And I says, is the bank open today? No, sir. Is it a holiday? No, sir. Why is the bank closed? Why? Yes, sir. He didn't understand that. It's not his language, so that's okay. But is there another bank that's open? Yes, sir. Can you tell me where it is? He didn't understand that either. But I know there's another branch. I know there are several other branches. All in the city itself, there are several branches of the same banks. Whatever bank it is, doesn't matter. So A man opens the door, not in uniform, nice young guy, and he comes out and says that there's a bank that way. And I said, how far? Not far. Can't be that far. The city's not that big. So I head down that way, and I know there's another branch on the main road. I was never in it. So I go to the bank, and the lady at the front of the line has number 75. They're giving out numbers. They're big numbers, about that big. So you don't forget to give them back at the end of your experience at the bank. So I said to the lady, how long have you been waiting on this line? And she spoke perfect English. She said 2 hours. Okay, well, I need to go to the bank, so may I have a number? And the guard gave me the number 95. So I know that it's going to be 2 hours, because the line usually is typically 2 hours. Not normally typically, but that looked like a 2-hour line. There were about 25 or 30 people there. So I said thank you, and I go to the immigration office. Now, this is the 4th time I've gone to the immigration office. My passport was processed a month ago for my visa. That's not a problem. And I paid the fees, and that wasn't a problem either. But that day, the computer, even though I paid for the express lane, the computer was not working that day. So they said, please come back in a few days. So I did. I went back in like 4 days. However, that day that I went back, the computer was not working either. So I was in the city anyway, so it didn't matter. So I hadn't been back in 2.5 weeks. So when I got to the immigration, there were only 7 people in front of me. Just 7 people. That's 7. 7. That's one more than unknown. Okay? 7 people. So I asked the lady again at the front, the first person, how long is the wait? She said 2 hours. It's okay. So I have 2 hours to go for the bank, and I got 2 hours to wait at the immigration. I'll wait. So I sit down and I start playing with my notebook and making my lists for the day. But it didn't take 2 hours. It took about an hour and 15 minutes. So when I went back in, they give you a receipt for your passport here. Now, the reason they gave me a receipt for the passport is because the computers were not working when I went the first day, which was, what is this? It was April, May 20, April. I went April 20th, I think it was. So they didn't have the computer, so they take your passport, they give you a stamp, it's a receipt. Now, let me tell you something about that little receipt. It's just a little piece of paper like that. It says, they write your name on it, and it tells you, that's it. It's pretty much just your name. There's no passport number or anything like that. And what day. So if you lose that piece of paper, even though your passport, this doesn't make any sense. There are some things in the Philippines that are reasonable, and there are some things that I don't think are reasonable. That little piece of paper, if you lose it, it makes no sense what they make you do. So, how do I say this? It's the paper that gives you a receipt for your passport. And your passport has your picture in it. And your passport has your name in it, by the way. The passport has a picture of the person who owns the passport and the name of the person that's the picture is of. And then It's your passport. And then I have a driver's license, I have an NBI clearance, I have a tax identification number. So, do you have the receipt? Somewhere I have the receipt. Yes. I know I had it in my papers, but what happened was, this is, it's more fun in the Philippines, baby. So, it's in the papers. But I don't know which. So, okay, so when they didn't have the computer working, they gave a printout. Whoa, I see stupid chat. I've been trying to get in touch with you, Warren. I probably, where are my glasses? Hold on a minute. We lost the bifocals. Wow, that's amazing. Where did my glasses go? Here they are. Warren, I've been trying to get in touch with you for 3 days, but I've been very busy. You know how I like to do things. Thank you. For more biscuits. Salamat. Paige, hi. Welcome to the machine, Paige. I apologize, Paige. I didn't have my glasses on, and I didn't even see that there were comments. Yeah, Warren, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. We already sent them emails for all of that stuff. All of that stuff. A Brit engineer in the Philippines. To answer your question, no, I sold my equipment when I left America. To answer your question from the other day that I saw. And typically, I don't answer questions from my subscribers. Typically. Now, that's the answer to your question. Why would I still own heavy equipment if I moved from America and there are 500 videos of me selling my equipment in America? Why would I still own heavy equipment? That's a question for you. Maybe you should answer that question. Why would I still own my equipment in America? After 6 years, please tell me why I should still own equipment. Thank you. So, thank you, Warren. So the lady says, well, we need the receipt. I said, okay, so I'm looking for the receipt, and I have it. I know I have it because I remember putting it in the papers when I packed 2 days ago. Sunday, I think I packed. Jack Thompson, rules are for fools. Stop the super chat, guys. That's for the 42 rules, and I'm making an addendum of another 10,000 rules or optional rules and addendums to the original rules. So, no, that's not my machine. And now you want to ask personal questions? That's going to cost you $100. Those are the machines I repair. Okay? So what else do you want to know? Because I'm about ready to you are buddies with your other buddy there, and then you're going to go back and tell him, no, he's repairing machines. So get off my channel. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. It's an amazing thing. You are friends. You guys interact with each other like a bunch of, what did Warren say that you were? The gossip girls. Get off my channel. Stop asking me personal questions. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I'll unsubscribe from you too. Have a nice day. That's what you do. You're like a little gossip that Warren nailed it. Warren nailed it with you guys. You guys are like a bunch of little girls that go back and forth and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's right. I called you a gossip girl. That you go to one channel and talk nonsense about somebody, then you go report back to your masters on another channel. That's something I don't do. You'll never see me talking about another blogger on another blogger's channel. But you guys, you love to go back and make reports. Go back and make a report and get off my channel. Okay? Because that must have been something that's important to you to ask that question, not just the other day, but to ask it today. And probably that's important to you for some unknown reason. We don't live on the same island. Why would you care if I owned heavy equipment or repaired heavy equipment or still have heavy equipment? Tell me why you would care. You can explain to you before I block you. I won't be able to block you until later on in the day. If you give me a really good explanation, which I know you're not going to do, then I'll just consider you one of those little trolls that run back and forth from one channel to the other. And I know that's what you do because I've seen you do it. So I'll just consider you troll bait or clickbait. So, yeah. So what is it that you want to know? Send me $100. Send me your telephone number. Send me your telephone number. No, don't even, just get off the channel. Go away, go away. Go report back to your other little gossip girlfriends or whatever they are. Do you feel powerful when you ask somebody a question and you go to the other channel behind the scenes? Does that make you feel powerful? Does that somehow give you a thrill? Is that what knocks your socks off? Because I don't do that. You will never see me on another channel asking somebody a personal question. I don't ask personal questions of the people that I know. I don't care what people do in their private time. And why, if you live on another island, how is that going to affect you? How? Tell me how that's going to affect you. Tell me how asking me personal questions. You know what? Just get off the channel. Go play on your property with whatever it is that you're doing. I'm not interested in an answer because I already know what type of man you are. You are the kind that goes right back to the gossip girls. So go gossip about that. We just gave them something to talk about, like that Bonnie Raitt song. Let's give them something to talk about. So I'm throwing you off the channel. Don't answer the question. Unsubscribe. Push the thumbs down. Do whatever it is that you got to do. Why is it so important for people to know? Why? What my personal business is? Because then, yeah, this is probably you that did this to begin with. It's probably you, and I'm accusing you of you being possibly the person that's feeding other people incorrect information. By the way, and possibly the reason for other things that blah 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 blah, and none of you really know the truth because you don't have what it takes to ask me directly. Not in a public forum, not in a comment section. Tell me you want to talk to me on the phone, but don't tell me you want to talk to me on the phone. I don't want to talk to you on the phone. I already know what you do. I've watched you do it. So get off the channel. Go bother somebody else. Oh, wait a second. There is somebody that you might be able to service today. Go service him with your gossip. Okay, does that answer your question? I explained to you, I sold all my equipment when I left America, but that wasn't enough for you. More personal information and more personal information. Like that schmuck, the schmuck that built a dating site around a fake Michael Fazio. That's the kind of guy you are. That's the kind of guy you associate yourself with. That's the kind of guy that you're friends with. Get off my channel. I don't need you feeding somebody half-truths and false information. I don't want you here. My answer to you when I answered you originally should have been enough. But no, that wasn't enough because you have somebody that you need to go report to. Somebody that's making up false dating site information, fake stories about me, telling people to go and create stories about other YouTube bloggers. Is that what you really, you're supposed to be an engineer? Is you're supposed to be some kind of genius in building? I watched the building videos on your job site with the men pushing mud up against the block wall, pushing mud in flip-flops when there was a rake right next to them, but no hoe, no comb on the job. No comb, no hoe, not even a homemade comb or a homemade hoe. I watched your videos. You allow people to work with hundreds of pieces of rebar with no bottles on top of the rebar. You allow people to work with thousands of things that are wrong on the job site, and you want to know things about me? What I suggest you do is go read a book on how to build something, and then I suggest you follow the rules. I know there aren't many codes, but to watch a man in flip-flops push mud against a brick wall, he didn't even have a trowel, and you want to question me about building experience or equipment or whether I own equipment or not? I suggest you go read a book on how to do construction and how to run a safe job site. That place was a disaster. I don't care whether they got hurt on the job or not. Don't come and question me so you could go back and do blah, 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 blah. And then your master's going around telling people, yeah, you should make videos about this guy, the big ego guy. You should make videos about the chi. You should go back and report. Go back and report. Go ahead, go back there now. Get off the channel. See, we're done now, right? Did you like that answer? Do I own heavy equipment? I told you I sold my heavy equipment when I left America. That's all you need to know. So, we're at the bank, and this young man comes out and says there's another something down the road. So I know that way I'm not going to miss the bank, that's for sure. And I know it's not on that side of the road, so it's got to be on this side of the road. It's just one of those banks that are pushed back into the building line a little bit. So I go down the road, I find the thing, I get the ticket, I go to immigration, I don't have the pass, the little card, not available. So I said to her, well, look, just give me my passport. The woman has known me for 6.5 years, the same woman. No, sir. Why? You have to have the little paper. So, okay, I'll look for it. So I find it. Took about 30 seconds. I just shook out the paper and the pass fell out. So I give it to her and she gives me my passport. I said, what would happen if I didn't have the paper? I already know the answer because I already mentioned this in a video a few months back. If you don't have that piece of paper, you have to go to a lawyer and then show them enough identification for you to prove that your name is Michael Fazio, and you'll pay that lawyer in that building that does that. There's just so happens to be a lawyer downstairs. They work together. I think it was 1,000 pesos 6 months ago. So you have to pay 1,000 pesos plus whatever time you spend in the lawyer's office, and they'll give you a stamped piece of paper saying that you're Michael Fazio. And then you go back upstairs and you get your passport. It makes no sense, but I don't know what the deal is with that. But don't lose the paper. That's the point. So I get it, and it's already been 1 month since the due date. So I have to be back by June 29th. Now, the problem with the going there, sometimes there's a holiday. I don't know what the holidays are in the Philippines. So you really need to be there, as it says right on the window at the immigration office. You really need to be there 6 days before your passport expires, or at least try to get there. So I always do that. So I said, well, what would happen if you don't get it there on time for some reason? Because it never it happened once about 2 years ago by accident, and the guy waived the penalty. And then it happened because at Christmas, I think it was last Christmas, and it was Christmas week of last year, the office was closed. So it opened up January 2nd. But I didn't get there till January 3rd. So I think I paid 1,000 pesos for a fine. So it's 1,000 pesos, I don't know. It was 1,000 pesos for the fine. Not that much, but only because the office was closed half the week before Christmas and all of Christmas week. Now, it is what it is. So I go back to the bank and I said to the gentleman, what number are we up to? And he said 96. I said, well, I have 95. Go ahead in, sir. So I go in, and I didn't realize there were 20 more people in the bank. And at least there was aircon. So what I did is I sorted out my bills from the last time I was in the city. I put everything on plenty of room. There's no more double seat. There's no more single seating. So there was plenty of room. Put all the money that I wanted to put into the bank that I took out of the ATM machine before I went into the bank, put it on the seat next to me. I did my bills. I looked at my messages from the computer store, which is next, by the way. And then by the time I was done with that, I had a conversation with person to the left and the person to the right. I asked them if they knew anybody that was sick. And neither one of those people knew anybody that was sick. And one man was pretty familiar with politics. And he said, I don't believe. What don't you believe? I don't believe. I didn't believe in the COVID. I think that's what he was talking about. So I said, do you know anybody that's sick? I don't believe. So I think that's what he was talking about. Anyway, we laughed, and what little Visaya I could muster up and what little English he could muster up, we kind of had a little bit of fun there in the bank laughing about the whole thing. So I said to him, you're a bandito. You're a bandito. You are a bandito, because he had the mask on. And this is part of a video I loaded for Globe that didn't load last night. I don't know what's wrong with this YouTube. I will tell you there's problems with the internet. Everybody, do you remember 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago? Do you remember 60 years ago? Wait a second. Let me get you a visual on this. Do you remember? Wait, I got it. It's coming. It's coming. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Up, 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 da 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 da. Here we go. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Remember when you couldn't go into the bank with a mask on? Well, now they won't let you in the bank without a mask. They have reversed every piece of normalcy and human history. They've reversed it all. It's like the book, when I was a child, 1984, was mandatory reading in high school. Everything is reversed. Reverse speech, reverse truth. So now, in the movie, everything that's the truth is a lie. The lie is the truth. You can't go in a bank without a mask on. So what did they really do? They really made everybody out to be anonymous. But they also cut off your ability to have a conversation with your neighbor and or your friend in public. They also cut off your want to have a communication with the other person, because half the times you can't hear what they're saying, and you don't know what they look like. You know, half of a conversation is watching a person facial expressions and stuff like that. So anyway, we laughed, and I went up to the counter, and this is the part that Warren is going to love. And Warren has sent more than 2 payments up, but up until May 15th, there are just only 2 payments towards the computer. Only the last payment was May 14th. I was going to screenshot you and send that. Now, I know what we talked about, and I understand that it's a bank issue. So what did I do, right? I went, who's my manager? Well, naturally, when I was standing in front of the bank, when I first got to the bank about 10:15 or 10:20, when I first got to the bank manager always comes out and greets me, always. If matter whether I'm in the crowd or I'm in the seating arrangement or even if I'm just at the ATM, he always comes out and greets me. He's been very nice, Warren, to be honest with you. He's doing the best he can with the limited resources, and that's pretty much what he said yesterday. So after I did my banking and realized that things were not what they were supposed to be, so I went and saw the gentleman, and he said, because he said yesterday morning at 10:20, he said, we have new business. He said he didn't want to talk about what it was. Well, that new business was from May 14th. That was the last notice he got, and that's cool. We'll talk about that later. But I have already. I have the funding for the computer, so that's my next stop. So I finish. Me and him. He said that now didn't we do this last month? Didn't we do this? This is to everybody. Everybody listening to this live stream. You will transfer funds from one country to another, and they will tell you, well, it took, I don't know. Warren, would I be correct when I said 30 emails and phone calls to get the first transfer to go through? 30. 3-0. But it's a lot more than that. I would say I spent 17 to 20 hours with the bank, 17 to 20 hours to get the first transfer to go through. And then when we got all the numbers and everything ready, another transfer went through, and now a week or 2 went by, and the next transfer's lost in translation. Now, the money is somewhere in the system, but no one knows where it is. As of yesterday, he jumped on the computer and said, you'll have to tell your friend in Australia to call up his bank manager to tell him what's going on. So we know damn well it's not the Australian banking system. Let's give them something to talk about. Bonnie Raitt, and we always try to give them something to talk about. Blue Rose, oh my God. My friend Blue Rose, did we have a nice conversation the other day or not? Did we have a nice conversation? Oh, look at this. These guys what are you guys doing? Look at you. I go, you guys, no, this is not a super chat day. No. And you're breaking the rules. Rules are for fools. More biscuits. All right. And then that guy, now I see Warren, and then he has to bring that guy, the Brit engineer in Mindanao in the Philippines. You had to bring Daisy into the picture, right? See, there's something wrong with you in your mind. There's something wrong with you. And that, now, if you think I'm kidding you, I'm not kidding you. There is something wrong with you twisted, demented YouTube bloggers that have to bring up the past. Why? Do I ask you where your wife is, or your girlfriend, or your mother, or your children, or your dog? Do I ask you any personal questions? Have I ever asked you a single personal question on YouTube? You can answer the question, no, because I don't ask people personal questions. But you small-minded, twisted, demented little thinking of yourselves as YouTubers have to ask personal questions. So you could go blah, 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 like a little girl, like Warren puts on all his videos, the Gossip Girls. And I didn't even see that part of the comment. I didn't even see that comment. So Warren says, and to bring Daisy into the picture is wrong, wrong, wrong. And he's right about that. Do you want me to start? I'm not, first of all, you and I are done, 100% done. Don't come to my channel. Just push the thumbs down if you like to do that. I'll block you from commenting at all on my channel, because I know what you're doing, dude. You are trying to build up your channel the same way all these other small YouTubers try to build up their channel by blah, 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 blah. And you're trying to make a name for yourself with some other worthless YouTube blogging community member. It ain't going to happen. Now, you just got a lot more, what do they call it? Advertisement than anybody else could ever give you. And it's all bad. So they say that there's no such thing as bad advertisement, so I guess you got good advertisement. But that part of the, why do you have to, and that video is 2 years old, 3 years old. Can't you figure this stuff out for yourself? You've watched enough of my videos, but not you. You had to bring Daisy from 2 years ago into the picture, because that's what you small little cretins of YouTube do. You bring out some piece of info, like a little girl. That's what I called you, like a little girl, okay? I don't care how big you are. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care what you think. I don't care now. I'm never going to care, and I never will care. Didn't care, don't care, never will care. That you have to bring, I don't mention Daisy anymore, but you have to bring her up, because you are going to report back to the other little gossip girls on YouTube. And there you go. You gave me some topic matter. I thank you very much for that. You gave me some more insight into the small-mindedness of your mind, how small your mind is. I could have given you a lot of subscribers. In fact, in the beginning, I did. Okay? But your channel is basically worthless. Unless you want to go to Brit Engineer in Mindanao's channel to watch how Filipinos do work, which is different than we do it in America, or probably Australia or Great Britain. If you want to watch men, now this is the truth, it's his video. If you want to watch men in flip-flops pushing clay, mud, that was dug out of the original trenches for the footings, which are basically, I guess if there is a code, they're to code. But when they were going to push the mud back up against the blocks that they put the blocks in the rebar, you want to watch men move clay mud. Now, we're not talking about mud. We're talking about clay mud. So you know what clay is. It's clay. And it's brown clay mud. They push it up against the wall with their flip-flops. And the flip-flop falls off, and it's sliding. Any intelligent man, he calls himself an engineer, Brit engineer in the Philippines. Why don't these men have the proper tools? And I don't care what the proper tools are. You don't have them, you're an engineer, build them. Make them. Make the tools. Go buy a rake for $10 in the store. The rakes here are garbage. You'll probably have to repair it after using it for one day. I've seen the rake head fall off of a rake in one day. So you'll have to repair it. But you call yourself an engineer and you have men pushing mud around in flip-flops? Dude, I don't understand you people. But being that you gave me something to talk about, I give you now something to talk about. And we can both put the song Bonnie Raitt up on the screen. Let's give them something to talk about. There you go. Thank you very much. Now, get off. Don't even try to... I'm going to end. Our relationship is over right now. Right this second. Okay, so Warren... Yeah, thank you, Warren. Yeah, you do that. The Gossip Girl Sewing Circle Jerk Club. Buy a tool, says Jack Thompson, sends me. Oh my God, we have freaking rainbows. I just wanted to talk about my daily routine. Buy a tool, $4.99. Salamat, Warren. Salamat, Jack Thompson. Down payment for tomorrow's scam. Now, tomorrow's when? Right? Tomorrow's Thursday. That's a big day for scamming. There's a big day for scamming coming up. Thursday, I like to run an American Wednesday night scam and a Thursday morning in the Philippines scam. Wow, thank you very much. Jack Thompson with another $4.99. Salamat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm afraid to move the tablet. The things I went through at the Globe store. So, Warren, I covered the bank. Thank you very much, Warren. Princess Anne is saying hello to Warren. Warren's saying hello to Princess Anne. Good morning, Princess Anne. Okay, Princess Blue Rose. Blue Rose, now Blue Rose and I are very good friends. And Blue Rose has helped me... He's helped me understand that my computer, I think he put it, he compared my computer with Alzheimer's, how it forgets what it was doing. Because I had a Word document for the notes that I make for my shows, and when I closed the document, it froze up. And then Microsoft Windows Word document froze up in my computer. And then we're going to go to the Globe store. This is a good story. And the computer store. This is a better story. All right, so, oh God, Warren hits me hard. Hitting me hard with them nickels. $5 super chats. Thank you, Warren. Thank you. Thank you. I tell you what, this looks like it's getting out of control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the pot and this is going to be the end of Super Chat. We're going to bang the pot to end the Super Chat for the day. So you just stay right there. Okay. You guys, I'm going to teach you guys a lesson. You guys are going to be learned proper. Okay? If I have to do this every day, I'll do it every day. But you guys can't come on my channel continuously sending me Super Chat without repercussions, okay? I demand that nobody sends me Super Chat. Stop sending Super Chat. Salamat. Jesus Christ, you guys. I'm trying to get couple of true stories out, and you look at that cluttering up my screen. Look at this. They're cluttering up the whole damn screen. Look, a nickel, a dime, another nickel, another nickel, another nickel, and a deuce, a big deuce from John Escape. Welcome to the machine, and another nickel and another deuce. The pot called. $2 for $2 of abuse and $3 to be scammed. Well, Warren is calling to be abused. 2 minutes of abuse coming right up. Let's make a little rainbow here. Rainbows, flashing colors on the screen. I see blue, I see green, I see green, I see green, I see orange, I see green, I see orange, I see green, I see green, I see green, I see blue, I see green, I see blue. Okay, so Warren, it's a lot, man. So Warren wants 2 minutes of abuse. So let me tell you a little story about my friend Warren, what he's done. I'm going to abuse him right now. I'm going to talk about Paige High is in the house. Welcome, Paige High. I'm going to abuse Warren for 2 minutes. All right? You guys get out your stopwatch, and in the next 2 minutes from right now, you're going to hear all the abuse that I could give Warren H. in life. Okay, did you get that? All the things that Warren has ever done wrong to Michael Fazio, all the mistrust and ill deeds that Warren has done. You ready? I'm going to give you 3. Did you get those 3 things? The bad things that Warren did to me? Wait. I'm going to talk all the times. Right now, I'm going to give you 4 things that Warren said behind my back. In the last 10 years that I know Warren, I'm going to list those things right now. I'm going to list the 4 things that Warren said behind my back. You ready? Listen. Well, and I'm also going to talk about, right now I'm going to talk about all the times that Warren has said something negative about any of our friends in our inner circle. Ready? Listen carefully. All any of my friends in our inner circle. Listen up. Listen. Just listen. Okay? And last but not least, every negative thing that Warren has said about me as a blogger, every negative connotation, every negative insinuation, every bad thing that Warren has ever said about me in the last going on 10 years since I know him. You ready? I'm going to list 20 things. Ready? Start right now. Ready? All right. Well, what you just heard for the last 2.5 minutes was all the bad things that I could possibly drum up about Warren H. Now, nothing. What did that amount to? Nothing, right? Now, if I was to ask John Escape the same question, or Jack Thompson, or Scott Del Fuego, or Blue Rose, if they were talking, they couldn't say anything bad about Warren. So I apologize, Warren. I haven't been able to fulfill your request. I did the best I could. And what I should suggest you do in the next bank transfer, deduct that $2 from the next bank transfer. And it has nothing to do with that. Now, we know that line, that would be a classic line. Take $2 off the bank. Warren has been nothing but my friend. Blue Rose has been nothing but my friend. Scott Del Fuego, Dennis Adams, Mercury, all these people. So the only abuse that I actually did was the best I could do. Warren says he enjoyed the lack of... So basically, in theory, I charged him $2 to do nothing, which is what I do best. I charge people money for unique things on YouTube, whatever it is. If I'm running a legitimate scam, I'm running legit. Now, next week, we're going to go back to the Church of Christians Plus. Remember the Church of Christians Plus, it needs a steeple. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my breakfast, and that is my breakfast. I'm going to put my breakfast away, and I'm going to go back. We're going to go from the bank. We're done with the banking story. We're going to the computer store now, being that Warren's here. So for GE Northcote and Warren and everybody else that you paid for my new computer, the Asus ZenBook 581. In fact, more than paid for the computer. Now, here's the problem. So, you guys think it's easy living here in the Philippines. It's not so easy living here. The way they train people in the school system here, I think it's the poor training. I really do. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, not all Philippines, but most of the Philippines people here are not trained to do the job that they're functioning in. Now, that goes for every young person in every job and everywhere in the world. They don't know every facet of the whole business, but please don't give them a job as a salesperson in a computer store. Now, I have 40 phone calls to one person in a computer store, 40. Now, that includes text messages from this young man and my phone calls to the store and phone calls to his manager when he wasn't in the store, and then phone calls to him to ask him if he followed up on the things that he said. Plus, yesterday makes more than 5 trips to that store. Okay, so whether it was 2 trips yesterday, 2 trips last week, and 1 trip 2 or 3 weeks before, more than 5 trips to the store in the month of May and several in April. So here's what we got. Here's my computer update. You're not going to believe this. There is no reason for you to believe what I'm about to tell you. Nobody would believe what I'm about to tell you about the level of competence. I didn't say incompetence. The level of competence in the Philippines is near to zero in this computer store that I dealt with. Okay, so I go into the store for the second time. At first I asked where this young man was, and they said, come back after lunch. What did I just say? Come back after lunch, right? Well, it was 5 minutes to 1. Okay, I'll come back after lunch. You're going to call me a liar. You're going to call me a liar. So what I do is I go to Globe, I have to, after lunch, it's an after lunch story, right? So I go to Globe, and I look, and there's 20 chairs and 4 people standing behind the chairs. The chairs are all spaced 3 feet apart. So I went to the man at the counter, and I said, is that the line? He said, yes. I said, where does it start? Naturally, it starts in the back, but, for all I know, they do everything else a little different. The line could have started in the front. Who knows? But I really wanted to know, do you get a number or sign in? He goes, no, sir, wait on the line. How long is the line? I don't know, sir. What do you mean? You've been standing here since 10 o'clock this morning. You don't have any... No, sir, it varies from person to person. I didn't ask you if it varied. Give me an approximate time. I don't know, sir. So you have the man with the heat gun and the manager of the store that see 20 chairs and 4 people behind the chairs. And they can't even give you... I said, just give me a rough idea. I cannot say, sir. It varies. Of course it varies. So does the temperature. About. Sir, you'll just have to wait. Okay. So I get online. But the first thing I did, but this is what you do if you want to know how long the line is. You go to the person that's in the front of the line, and you say, approximately how long have you waited? And it was a lady and a man. They said 2 hours at the same time. Okay, 2 hours. So it's a 2-hour line. And I said, is it the same? Same. So it was about the same. So 2 hours. So I get online, and then I do my lists for the week. What I have to do, what I have to buy, what I have to bring to the city to be repaired, what I have to look for in the city. I need a new pair of cargo shorts. The cargo shorts I had yesterday, they ripped. No place I went. There's supposed to be a Nike store that opened up in back of the ICM mall. I looked for that last time I was in the city. No one knows where it is, if it's still a store. I think the store opened up Christmas, and I think it closed. I don't think the store's there anymore. I walked 2 blocks all behind the ICM mall. I can't find it. If it was there, the Iron Gate was down, and I didn't see the signage. That's possible, but I don't know if it's even still there. I don't even know if it existed. Can't find it on the internet. Oh, yeah, the internet. We're not done with the internet. Yeah. Okay. Remind me to talk about the internet and the telephone numbers on the internet. So I stand up, and right in line, I was the 5th person, and a half hour went by, and I got to the chair, and there were people behind me standing again. But the interesting thing, and I have a video of this, Simon Says Musical Chairs, they're training you people. They're training you people. Not me. They're never going to train me. But they're training you people to believe that the new rules are the way things should be. I will never believe that the way they're training people to do things nowadays is the proper way. Now, I may do those things, but I will never believe that the new way is the way it should be. Warren says, just wear your undies on your head and no one will notice the rip in your There's a rip in my shorts, buddy. I don't know where I put them. I'm talking... Where did I put those shorts? They're outside. I washed them. Yeah, there's a rip in my shorts. So I get online, and we're having our laugh, but they're training you people to believe that it's normal to wait 2 hours. So it was exactly 2 hours for the bank, exactly, 1 hour and 40 minutes in the supermarket, and exactly 2 hours and 10 minutes on Globe Line. So you can't even ask them a question. They won't even answer a question. You have to wait online to ask them a question. So one question that I wanted to do was I wanted to get my service upgraded. It tells you, Globe, I have it on the video, Globe 100 megabytes per second, 100 megabytes per minute, whatever it is, 100 MBS, 100 megabytes a second, everywhere. Now, says it in one of the posters on the front of in the room. Okay, so I wait 2 hours and I go in and they do the gun thing, and I make so there's 20 chairs. This is ridiculous, but this is how they do it. Okay. There's 20 chairs and 4 people or 5 people or 6 people now behind the chairs. So if the first person stands up and goes into the store, there's an empty chair there. So everybody moves one chair. Everybody. So like a big snake, which I thought was pretty cool because actually it gives you the option to stand up and stretch your legs about every 6 minutes. They bring one person into the store and one person exits. And so I get in the store and now you have to wait online in the store. And they put you social distancing. What nonsense. Anyway, they put you in a social distancing line inside the store. Now they have these things on the floor, social distancing dots on the floor. So you can't get closer than, I don't know, whatever it was, 3 or 4 feet. So I wait online for about 20 minutes in the store, which was part of my 2 hour and 20-minute wait. And I said to the man, do they have 100 megabytes per second in Pang Lao? No, sir. Do you know when it will come to Pang Lao? No, sir. They don't give you any extra information. Okay, thank you. So what I did was, being that I was there, I paid up until August my bill. This way I don't have to go back. And you don't have to pay at the store. I only wanted the upgraded service. For Globe, just to give you a small piece of information, how to pay bills in the Philippines, the woman at the cashier, who I've known for 6 years, said, sir, I said, is there another way to pay these bills rather than to wait online? And then she pointed to a machine on the side that you can take cash money, like 1,000 peso bills or 500 peso bills. That's what I saw people putting in the machine. You need your account number and the bills. So that's all you need is your account number and your name, naturally, the name on the bill. And you put that information into the machine, and then it says, how much would you like to pay? And you put how much you want to pay, and you put the cash in the slot, and it takes your cash. So that's inside the Globe store on the 2nd floor of the ICM Mall, the top floor. So that you don't have to wait online to do that. There's a separate line for that, but it was probably a 5-minute wait. However, I asked the girl, can you pay these bills someplace else? And she said, yes, you can pay them at Palawan Pawn Shop, any outlet of Palawan Pawn Shop, and any outlet, I think it was LCB or LBC. So you can pay it at the shops that send money, MoneyGrams to people in the Philippines, LBC or LCB, and also Palawan Pawn Shop. Then I go to Palawan. Oh, I haven't had to go there since January, but when last I sent money through an electronic medium, I used Palawan because they had my name on account, and I just put my name down and my phone number, and immediately everything was passed. So the other ones are more complicated. They don't remember your name from day to day. After you put your name in and all your other information, it remembers who you are. But at Palawan, They all knew me. So I leave there. And then it's after lunch now, right? It's after lunch, right? So I'm going back to the computer store. So is the man there that I spoke with about the computer? No, sir. Well, wait a minute. Now, you said to come back after lunch. Yes, sir. Well, where is he? Hold on, sir. You better get used to this if you're moving to the Philippines, because I'm not exaggerating. I don't give a flying tutu. I don't care what you people think about whether or not I'm telling you the truth. I'm not exaggerating. Is the man, I'll start again. Is the man, this man here? No, sir. Now, this is the same person that said come back after lunch, by the way, because there's only 8 people in the front of the store. Where is he? Hold on, sir. So that man goes and gets the manager. The manager now. Did you hear what I, the store manager, right? So the manager comes out. Yes, sir. How can I help you? Is so-and-so here? No, sir. Okay, well, you are familiar with the conversation that I've had with so-and-so over the last 5 weeks. Yes, sir. Well, where is so-and-so? He's not here, sir. Did I ask you whether or not he was here? I asked you where he was. This is a problem they have here in the Philippines. He's not here, sir. When is he coming back? Okay, we'll ask the question a different way. Sir, he no longer works here. So he got fired. I mean, he was really bad at his job. But I said, okay, so for 5 weeks, we are back and forth, this so-and-so and myself. And on last week, he determined that your store has the Asus ZenBook 581 72 something 01T in stock. Is that correct? No, sir. What do you mean, no, sir? I mean, can you expand on these answers? Is that possible? You would think they would want to expand, right? They're trying to sell a computer. They want to sell it. So could you please expand on that answer? Sir, we don't have that model in stock. But so-and-so said you did. Yes, sir. They never offer you another piece of information. You have to pull each piece of information. Here's the manager. You think that the workers are not trained with a proper business attitude. Here is the manager of the store. Ma'am, can you get the computer? We'll go about it. No, sir. Why did he tell me that you had a computer in stock? Sir, we can get the computer. You just told me you didn't have it in stock. Yes, sir. Well, can you get the computer? Yes or no? Yes, sir. But it's not in stock. No, sir. Well, so-and-so said it was in stock. Yes, sir. But it's not in stock, but you can get it. Yes, sir. Okay, so let's do it a different way. Because you better get used to this when you're in the Philippines. This is the way they do business here. They don't think there's anything wrong with this either. I have 200 phone calls to get the computer and 20 plus hours and 5 hours of live stream talking about this computer, and I still don't have the computer. Okay, so how long will it take for you to order the computer? Well, I'll take care of that in a minute, Jack. Thank you very much. Thanks for reminding me. So how long will it take? Let's say you could get the computer. Call up and find out. So she calls up. No problem. Yes, sir. Can you get the computer? No, sir. What do you mean? No, sir. We have a different model. Well, which model do you have? Because this is a second store that's pulled this crap. We have the Asus ZenBook 9800 i9, not the i7. And how much is that? That's 200,000 pesos, 199,000 pesos. That's not the one I want. So-and-so said you had the one for 169,000 pesos. Yes, sir. We don't have that one, sir. So I go on a long shot. I'm gonna find out every piece of information so that you people don't have to be abused mentally, physically, and time-wise. This is mental abuse that the manager of the store puts the person asking the questions through. Now already I'm there, and already 25 back and forth volleys have gone back, and I know nothing. I know less than what I came into the store for. So may I tell me the model number that you have? And I know these model numbers pretty much which ones are which. So she told me, I said, that's the big computer, that's the i9, right? Yes, sir. Okay, let's just say I wanted to order that computer. Do you have it in stock? Yes, sir. Where is it? It's in Manila. Okay, so lockdown is over. Me, Michael Fazio. If I go to Manila tomorrow morning, you call up and you find out if I can go to Manila today, this morning. You find out if I can go to Manila and pick up the computer. No, sir. No, sir, what? No, sir. No, sir, I can't go to Manila. No, sir, I can't pick up the computer. No, sir, you don't have the computer. No, sir, what? What does that mean? Sir, the computer is in stock. Okay, so how long will it take to get to Bohol? 3 to 5 weeks. So I said, if I give you a deposit, can I get it back after 5 weeks if it's not here? No, sir. So I says, okay, so I want to go to Manila tomorrow. Please call up, get the phone, go over there, get the phone, and can I go to Manila tomorrow to pick up the computer? Sir, our supplier has the computer. Now what? Now I'm there 20 minutes. This is going on and on for 20 minutes. So your supplier has the computer. Yes, sir. So can I go there tomorrow and pick the computer up? No, sir. Well, how do I get the computer? We have to order it, sir. Well, okay, so can you order it from the supplier to go to the store in Manila, and I'll go to your store in Manila and pick it up? No, sir. So you can only order it from your supplier to put it in the same name store that you have in Manila, to ship it to Cebu, to ship it to Bohol. Yes, sir. But I had to ask those questions. Had I not asked those questions, she would have asked me again for the deposit of 100,000 pesos for the computer. And no guarantee, if you don't get the computer in 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks or 7 weeks, there is no money back return on the deposit. So I said, so if I tell you I'm going to give you 100,000 pesos for the computer and you order it, I can't get my money until the computer comes. Yes, sir. And what if the computer comes and it's broke? We will order another one for you, sir. I said, no, you know what? I'll go online and I will try to find a computer. But that's not possible. So I walked out of that store, more dumbfounded that the biggest computer store in Bohol, well, yeah, in Tahbilaran and in Bohol, that there are now 250 to 300 volleys of questions back and forth, only to find out on the last 3 or 4 volleys that the computer is in stock You can order it, and then we will order it from our supplier. Our supplier will ship it to our store, untold amount of time. The store will ship it to, the store in Manila will ship it to Cebu, and Cebu to Bohol. It could take now 3 weeks to 7 weeks or more, but not how much more. It depends on how long it takes the supplier. Where is the supplier? It could be in China, it could be America. I don't know where the supplier is. So however long it takes the supplier to get the computer to the store in Manila, and maybe the supplier is ordering it from a supplier. There is no chain of command here that will give you a single piece of information, and I want to buy a computer. All right. Next. All right, so I walked out of that store laughing. I was literally laughing. I'm going, how do these people, they stay in business because they're the only store that can buy, that you can order a computer from in the ICM mall. We don't have another option. There are no other options. There are stores that you can go to and look at stuff online and order it into their stores, but that's the only store that sells computers per se. Next one's a big one. This is fun living this. That's why they call it more fun living in the Philippines, baby. And you know what? I got to tell you, I've been listening to a couple of people's commentaries. This isn't a one-off situation. This is everything. Every day, everything. Every day, everything, all the time, how they do business. Warren says, Jack Thompson, being abused reminds me of marriage. Here comes the rub, I think. So, you want the rub? The rub is, I'm going to find a store that has that computer. Now, the day before yesterday, I spent 7 hours. Here, watch this. The whole day, it was my work day. My work day, today is Wednesday, yeah? My work day, Monday, was to look for the computer in Cebu. My work day, Monday. Now, could I show you the web page for Asus? Asus computers. I'll open it up. So I'm going to open it up so I could. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here is a list of every store in the Philippines that sells Asus computers. Okay. Stores near you. You put in your name, and it starts off with Angeles, Naga City, Camarines Norte, Metro Manila, Occasion de Oreo City, Ayala, Cebu. Okay, so that's all the stores. It goes down through the alphabet. There are 5 pages of stores. Or more. How many? I'll tell you. More. Maybe there was more than that even. About 8 pages. 8 pages of stores in the Philippines sell Asus computers. 8 pages, right? So you might have saw at the top of the page the Ayala Mall in Cebu has a store, right? And they have a telephone number. Now, these telephone numbers are all cell numbers. They're not landlines. Occasionally you run across the landline, but you got to have a landline to make a call to a landline. You can't call a landline from a cell number. And if you do, it's like 16 pesos per minute. That's 32 cents a minute. You considering, and sometimes they have a 2-minute charge to connect you, so it could cost you for a 5-minute phone call that you're not going to get any information from anyway, because talking to these people on the phone is pretty much useless. So it could cost you $5 for a 10-minute conversation. 10 times 16, 160. But yeah, $5 while they put you on hold. But here it gets better. Gets better. I'm not going to tell you which numbers I call, but to call up. Now, Octagon has stores in multiple places in the Philippines. I called all these numbers, 8 pages of numbers, 8 pages. If they had a telephone number, I called them. So just to give, Octagon has a cell phone number for Globe. So Globe, I can call Globe on this phone, cell phone numbers, anywhere in the Philippines, free. But if I call a smartphone, I think that's also 16 pesos per minute. I don't know. I don't look at the bill, so I don't know if I ever call the number by smart, but I try to have a list. Okay, so I call up a man at 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday. I forgot his name. And he said, yes, sir. I said, is this the Aces store? Yes, sir. Well, I'd like to know if you have a certain computer in. I'm trying to tell you people what it's like living here. I'm not making up this crap. Blue Rose will confirm. He was on Skype with me while I was making some of these calls. So, and especially this particular call that I'm talking about now. Sir, I have to check when I get to the office. Well, where are you? It's 10 o'clock in the morning. These people start at 10. Yes, sir, I'm on my way to the store. All right, so he's going to be late. So I call him up, and he answers the phone. I said, this is Michael Fazio. I talked to you about buying. Sir, how did you get my number? So what do you mean, how did I get your number? It's listed as an Octagon phone number in Cebu. Where is it listed? On the internet? No, sir. What do you mean, no, sir? What do you mean, no, sir? I got your number, right? Yes, sir. How did you get my number? And I'm going, are you serious? They are putting, I don't know who this guy is, but they put his phone number on the internet. Anyway, he don't have the computer. Neither does anybody else. 8 pages, and whatever numbers I called, all of them apparently get their computers from Manila. And they get their computers from a supplier. So we are at, I still don't have the ability to go to Manila to buy a computer. And no one who answered the phone from Manila could get the computer, even though it says Asus. So apparently there's, I don't know. I don't know. So, all right, so we got to go back to the live stream and see what needs to be doing here. Hey, Steve Montelli. All right, Steve, look at me. Are you still there? Yeah, you're still there. Wait here. I'm going to turn the tablet around and show you what I meant about highlighting the comments, and they won't jump. So here, watch, Steve. All right, so I hope you can see this. All right, so what you do is if you're up here and it jumps down, here's how you do this. You highlight the comment like this. All right, I got to go back up. Look. You start up here, and you keep the highlighter on the comments. So Warren said, wow, and you highlight that, right? And then you go to the next comment. You keep your hand on the highlighter. You don't highlight the message and then unhighlight the message. You keep your finger on the highlighted messages like that. And then you go to the next comment. Now, if you want to take your finger off, that's okay. And now you read Princess Anne, hi. Now you go back to highlighting the comment again, and it won't jump to the bottom. See? Now you go there. You go there like that. And then, okay, you want to start again, you go down more. Okay? You don't you're not, it's lost in translation. But the other way, I'll show you the other way, is what I do, and I know you have StreamYards. Another way to go through the comments is have you, on the sidebar here, I don't know what you can see, but you like this. You click down one click, brings you down one page. Another click brings you down another page. Another click brings you down another page. So, those are two ways. No, my comments don't jump, and I don't have as many comments as you, but you highlight and you keep it highlighted, and then you could stop and start a new highlight. But the way your computer jumps down to the bottom, that's not normal, Steve. It's just not normal. Look, all programs are made with a sidebar. We agree on that, right? Steve Montelli and anybody else. The sidebar is to locate where you want to be. So by clicking below the sidebar, well below it, it should bring you down exactly one page less part of the last comment. By highlighting it, you can just scroll down through the highlighted words or up through the highlighted comments. Now, I know you said that the highlight showed it in blue and your glasses didn't allow you to see the highlighted words with the blue and the white print. However, you can highlight it, bring it to the comment that you want to read, and then just bring it up and leave the comment in black and white. And then when you're done reading the comment, highlight that comment, and it will go to the next black and white print on the page. That should work. It should work. I don't know why it's not working, but it should work. All right. Warren, so yeah, Steve Montelli has a Mac. It's not the same. Well, you know, Steve, I think I've seen a Mac computer while it was off on a shelf in a store. That's what I know about that. Well, but highlighting should, okay, I don't have any other methods. I don't know if there's another way, Steve. Maybe somebody here that has a Mac. Right now, Steve, I want to show you how to abuse somebody and get paid for it. You're going to like this. So Jack Thompson is paying me to abuse Warren H. Now, Jack Thompson gave me $1.99 for the kettle. He calls it the kettle. And this is the kettle. This pot has earned me more than $2,000 in the last year. So, Warren Jack gave me money for the kettle, but Jack also gave me money to abuse Warren H. So right now, see, what I do here, Steve, is I have different services that I provide. Of course, you know there is Super Chat on Demand, but that's a Sunday show. And this Sunday, I'm adding 947 to the original 47 rules. I'm going to add 947 more. So, and then those 947 have 10,000 addendums. So they'll just be just slightly over 12,000 rules. I'm even going to throw in some of the rules of acquisition. And by the Jewish aliens, that out there in C quadrant or D quadrant, there's a whole race of beings out there in another quadrant of space, and they have something called the rules of acquisition, and these are very ancient rules written around 8,000 BC, our time. And this whole race of beings, they have all of these rules. I'm going to add those rules, their rules, the 947 major and minor rules to my 47, but their 947 major and minor rules have 10,000 addendums. And then all rules in all the universe. Now the rules of acquisition, well, you just gotta love the computer service here in the Philippines. You just gotta love it. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Okay. So, of the original 47 rules and the 947 new rules and the 10,000 addendums, if ever there is a doubt as to a complication in the rules, just refer to Rule 1. Now, Rule 1 is in 2 parts, possibly 3. I change it as I go. But Rule 1, it is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than the other way around, said Jesus in the Bible. For he said that, it's in the red letters, it is better for you to give than for you to receive. And then he said, especially towards Michael Fazio's channel. That was Jesus now said that in red letters in the King James Bible. And we know that's true. Basically, Jesus said, it is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than for him to give to you. That's Jesus's words of Jesus. Amen. Then, the other primary rule is, it is better for you to give, said Jesus, in red letters, better for you to give to the Church of Christians Plus than for the Church of Christians Plus to give back to you. And then remember those 3 things, ladies and gentlemen. If Mr. Obama had a son, that's one, the son would be in the White House. That's not a rule, that's a fact. If Mr. Obama had a son, his son would have looked like a Trayvon Martin. That's a rule. Right, Mr. Obama? That's right, baby. Mr. Obama, tell us about the rules. If Mr. Obama had a son, well, where would his son be? He'd be in the White House. No. What would he look like? He'd look like a Trayvon Martin. Fazio. What? It's Mr. Fazio, Teal. He looked like a Trayvon Martin, Mr. Fazio. I'm sorry. You know who's here? Mr. Obama. Look. Whoa! Whoa! Steve is here. Steve Montelli. Oh my God! What does that make you want to do? Oh, I want to have tea bags with Steve. Really? How would that happen, Mr. Obama? Well, first thing you need tea bags. Tea bags? You need to. So, do you have. No, but we could use these steel galvanized things and we could make believe that these are tea bags. So, you want to make believe these giant galvanized steel fasteners are tea bags? That's right. And then what do you want to do? I want to have tea bags with Steve Montelli. Mr. Obama, are you sure? Positive. Steve loves me. I know. Saw Steve. When did you see Steve? I watch Steve all the time. I'm a big Steve Montelli fan. Steve has a question, Mr. Obama. Which Mr. Obama wants to have tea bags with Steve Montelli? Well, size. Remember when you was in school, Michael Fazio? Yes. Remember, the shortest person was at the front of the line. That's right, I remember the shortest person was at the front of the line. So, that means that I go first and then Mike. So, what are you saying? Mike is much longer, taller than me. So first Steve and you have tea bags and then Big Mike? That's right, size order. So you come up on the short, not exactly short. Don't super exceed your thoughts there, Fazio. Mr. Fazio, don't super exceed your thoughts. Not short, shorter. Oh, okay, Mr. Obama. So you're going first. You're gonna have lunch, and there'll be you're gonna have tea with Steve Montelli, and then Big Mike. Big Mike goes last. We saved remember Beethoven's Ninth Symphony where they did the 17 guns with the cannons and everything? Yeah. That's what I'm gonna be playing when Big Mike has tea with Steve. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony where it goes boom 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 boom, and Steve Montelli's head is gonna be going boom 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 off the headboard. He's gonna like this. The music and the ambiance of being in the White House having tea with Big Mike. He's gonna like this a lot. How do you know? I know Steve. He's got those bags hanging on the wall behind him. It's a secret message to me and Big Mike. He wants to be teabagged. So wait a second. Steve Montelli got the backpacks. They're not backpacks. It's code. It's a code for wanting to be teabagged. So Steve Montelli is sending out secret code to you and Big Mike? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Obama? That's right. Those bags, he says they're backpacks. They're not backpacks. It's like a Masonic symbol. He puts the bags out. He put 4 bags up last night. He wants to be teabagged 4 times. Soon. If he put them in a square, soon. If he put them in order, it means next week. So Steve Montelli is sending the White House. Martha's Vineyard. I live in Martha's Vineyard now. Steve Montelli is sending Martha Vineyard secret Masonic codes that he wants to be teabagged soon. That's right, Mr. Fazio. But I want to thank you for letting me come on your show, and I'm going to go tell Big Mike that on Sunday, Philippines, Saturday, we're gonna go see Steve Montelli in Las Vegas by the golf course. He lives on a golf course. After we're done teabagging them, we're gonna play golf. So you want to play golf? Anything that involves a big stick, we're gonna play all the stick games with Steve Montelli. All right, Mr. Obama, thank you very much. You want to say anything else? That's it. I love you, Steve. I love you. Remember, 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 remember. All right, Steve Montelli. Fuck, Mr. Obama, he got something. Him and Big Mike, they got plans, Steve Montelli. You had to ask, right? You had to ask, and I had to create some stupid commentary. But at the same time, the universe gave me the information in my head saying that Steve Montelli is sending secret Masonic signs on his wall behind his platform that he wants to have tea with Mr. Obama and Mike and Mr. Obama. Okay, thank you very much. That's right, Warren. Mr. Obama, he's a multifaceted human being. He's a very good man, Mr. Obama. He has the ability, so to speak, to be a switch hitter. He likes you one day. He likes Steve Montelli the next day. He's given it to me good a couple of times. And that's what I have to say about that. So, Jack Thompson said, Warren gets angry if you don't abuse him. So now, Steve, this is one of the options I have on my channel. For $1 a minute, I will say, I will abuse you. Now, I'm gonna abuse Warren for 2 minutes. Jack sent me $2. So right now, I'm going to talk about all the bad things I know about Warren. It gets a little tricky because I don't know anything bad. Versatile. Mr. Obama's very versatile. He said he also wants to play golf. He said anything that involved big sticks, he was in, so to speak. Play it, no pun intended. But Mr. Obama is a very versatile man. I'm a very versatile man. So we're going to talk about the bad things that I know about Warren H. And it's 10:53. At 10:55, I'll stop. So this is the first 3 bad things I know about Warren H. Did you get that? Now, that's only 20 seconds, so we got to go. I'm going to talk about the bad things that I heard about Warren H. from my group of friends, from all the people that I know on YouTube, except that I call friends. We're going to talk about all the bad things they have ever projected towards Warren H. Hold on. Now remember, Steve, I charged Jack Thompson $2 to do this. Well, he paid me $2 to do this. But you could go for 10 minutes of abuse. Now, depending on the person, there could be topic matter. But with Warren, people just pay me for dead ass space. So it's going on 10:55 in about 20 seconds. I'll just end it early because I'm going to screw Jack out of his last 20 seconds of abuse for Warren because there isn't any. But don't let that hold you back from sending me stupid chat. Steve, last night I was awake long enough. Steve Montelli, Mike the helicopter pilot that works in Dubai, sent you a $100 super chat, Steve. And here's an interesting thing. I was laying in bed, and I didn't really want to post it. I hope you're still here. But here is what, when I did Super Chat on Demand, Pat, I don't want to say his name, but one of the men sent me $100 super chat. Well, I guess I could. I hate to say his name without. I'm not gonna name names, but yeah, he sent me, and that was in red. So when I saw that red on the thing, I'm going, whoa, that's a big one. But if you want to see somebody get one of those 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes you go to a Brit in the Philippines channel. Chris is more successful as a blogger than you and I could ever hope to be, even if we combine forces. This morning, I saw 94 people on his channel within a half hour of him opening up his live stream. 94 people. His super chat was running, every couple of minutes he was getting a nice super chat. Some quite interesting. So a Brit in the Philippines has a much more successful channel when it comes to bringing people to his channel and super chatters, and I'm not real sure who any of those people are. Of like the 200 or 300 people I've seen on a Brit's channel, I don't remember seeing any of those people on my channel or your channel. Don't recall. So we all have different names on our channels. And the one thing I want to commend you on is, on your channel, Steve, is that Patrick Lee, okay? Oh, okay, to the point that I was making, the gentleman that sent me $100 super chat, he also works not as a helicopter pilot, but he worked most of his life in a career in a helicopter, or doing something with a helicopter. I won't say what it was. So that's interesting. It's helicopter, and I think he surveyed something from the air from a helicopter. The one picture that I have of him is with gear on in a helicopter. So he did something with a helicopter. Now, so the people that come to our channel, I know you don't accept super chat, but you are amazed when people super chatted you. Well, Steve, you run a great channel. Come on, dude. Listen, the preface or the reason for super chat is because you provide people with something to do. Entertainment. They laugh at you. They laugh with you. They make fun of you. They laugh because they find you amusing. They enjoy your show because it gives them a different perspective. It doesn't matter why they watch your show. Even if you do stupid stuff, they're being entertained. And last night, you had a few people that appreciated the fact that you could give them something. You got to look at it. You are giving them the opportunity to watch something that at least has the possibility of having real life scenarios in it. There's stuff that they have on television. The news is fake. The television programs are fake. The doctors on the news are fake. The people that produce the news are fake. The people that write the news are fake. The people that tell the news, they're all fake. There was Jack Thompson told me about a woman this morning, a black woman, apparently, according to Jack Thompson, that got mad that she saw, before the riots, in the daytime, people dropping off multiple pallets of bricks in an area that night was rampaged and ravaged by Antifa, whatever they're called, protesters. And she goes, "What's wrong with you people? You're leaving bricks." And I think Jack said there was also gasoline in the pallets. So they were leaving gasoline and bricks every so often through the streets that they were going to riot on that night, and the police didn't stop them. It's all fake, but they have a reason. And you and I both know what the reason is. They want to institute martial law, in my opinion. They want to marshal us all. They want to control every facet of our lives. Now, Steve Montelli, Jack, yep, that's, I heard that not only on your show, but I heard it from, I don't know where else. This morning I got up early and I heard it on a news story while I was making coffee. And there was the guy. Oh, no. I only heard it on your show. Steve Montelli was the person that said, imagine if they learn this from China, or China learns this. The guy had an umbrella, Steve, the way Steve explained it, he had an umbrella over his head so the drones couldn't see him from the top. He had a mask on because the United States government now wants total anonymity so that no one can tell who is doing the crime. And he was walking down the block with a hammer smashing the windows, and no one stopped him, including the police. So Steve came to the understanding, all probability, he was a plant by the government to start the destruction. And who makes money? Who makes money? Who makes money from all of this? Only one group of people make money from all of this. The politicians and the people who insure the businesses, because they pay off the insurance, probably 50 or 60 cents on the dollar of the damage. The owner of the company has to make up the balance, and then the insurance company doubles your premium next year, as if they weren't high enough already. Who makes money from this? That's right, the Ferengi of the universe. The Ferengi of the big city. And you know who the Ferengis are, right? They are none other than the Jewish businessmen of the universe. That's who they are. Now, all the Star Trek series, every aspect of the Ferengi is about how politicians and whatever their so-called religious domination is, or whatever that is, but mostly the people who own the businesses, the Jewish corporations, the Jewish business owners of the, like, for instance, my insurance company, Phil Rick, he was Jewish, okay? But he bought insurance from somebody in his family who was Jewish. This goes back into the 70s. But he explained this to me. When I couldn't get insurance, because I was like 17 and I had a sports car, my Aunt Stella, who was Phil Rick's friend, she had done business with him for years, because Sam Harari, 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 I.E., I think it was, Harari, whose brother, Neil, owned the Ivory store in the St. Ritz Hotel. So, just to give you a little background on that. St. Regis Hotel. When you walked into the St. Regis, to the left was a store that sold ivory, like $10,000 for like an egg, some stupid, worthless piece of ivory, $10,000. Well, that was Sam's brother. Neil Harari. And Neil and Sam, anyway, my Aunt Stella went to Phil, and Phil Rick said, okay, yeah, I'll get him insurance. And I had an accident, and the insurance company disowned me. You know, they said he's 17, he had an accident. The car hit me from the back. Anyway, he got me insurance with another company. So I asked him, how you do this? He goes, oh, all the Jewish people, we all stick together. He goes, we'll keep insuring you forever. I love your aunt, and I love Sam, and I love Neil, and that was it. So this is going back into 1973 now, the insurance companies, they were all dominated by Jewish corporations and Jewish entities. They own America. You can believe what you want. The entire pharmaceutical industry and all of the people that they convinced the politicians to do certain things for certain vaccines, they're all Jewish, or their wives are Jewish. Or look at President Trump's immediate cabinet of 12 people. I think 10 of them are Jewish, and the 2 that aren't Jewish, their wives are Jewish. Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook, Jewish. The Google entity is owned by a Jewish family. When Netanyahu came to America, he got 29 standing ovations. Even presidents don't get that. Every politician bowed down to President Netanyahu because they all know where their paychecks originate from. Don't make any mistake about it. America is controlled by the Noahide laws, and more specifically, the Jewish faction that controls not just America, it controls Russia too. It controls Putin, it controls Israel, it controls Great Britain, it controls the Bank of England, and it works with the Vatican to control the world, and more specifically, America's war machine. Not that I want to get political about anything, but that's how it works. You don't believe it, I don't care what you believe. I never cared what you believe. Steve Montelli brings up, like Warren said, like Warren said, Warren said, Steve, I don't think many vloggers expect Super Chat. I give if I like the content or the person. And Warren is extremely generous. Steve Montelli, how about the guy all in black breaking windows with the umbrella? Okay, so I missed the point that he followed the people in Hong Kong. But I did hear the words. But I was getting ready to drift off into sleep at that time. So, Blue Rose, welcome back to the machine, my friend. Blue Rose, the program that we installed the other day, it worked for that day. And when I restarted the computer, it disappeared. It didn't disappear, it just doesn't work anymore. After all that work that we went through to find out where and how, as soon as I restarted the computer, everything we did disappeared. All right, so maybe I'll talk with you later about that, or tomorrow. Steve Montelli says, the umbrella that the Hong Kong activists used was extremely successful blocking the drones. Okay, so that guy, who you thought was a government agent, smashing the windows, was in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong activists, man. Okay, so he was a Hong Kong activist. Okay, now I understand. Either way, yeah. See, and these people, listen, let's do politics. Let's get Mr. Trump down here. Yeah. No, I got that wrong. No. Forget that. Mr. Trump, come on over here. Oh, Mr. Fazio. Mr. Trump. Have you ever lied to the people of America? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. How much? Everything I say. Who controls your White House? Ah, I got it. I was right. Steve Montelli says the man breaking the windows was in America. That part I had gotten right. But he was using the umbrella that he learned from the techniques from Hong Kong. Okay, so it's a learning process. But I do remember there were police at either Hong Kong or in America that watched them breaking the windows, and nobody stopped them. And that's what I was going to talk to Mr. Trump about. What do you want to know? I got words. You got words for me? Got words. And I got something for Mr. Obama, too. What do you got for Mr. Obama? Never mind. What do you want to know? Mr. Trump, do you remember? What? Do you remember when you said you were going to build the wall? Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago, Mr. Fazio. Are you going to build the wall? Hell no. Why did you say it? Yeah, we would say it too. You wanted to be president in 2012. You were saying stuff that wasn't true. Yeah, but I didn't get to be president. That's your fucking problem, Fazio. Mr. Trump, just relax yourself. So remember what else you said? What else? What else? Remember you said you were going to put Mrs. Clinton in jail? Oh, yeah, remember. Oh, yeah, I remember. Hillary, yeah, I remember her. What about her? Are you going to put her in jail? Hell no. Why did you say it? Gotta get elected. Yeah, Steve, I agree that it might go that way. I made that comment public. The Mexicans might build the wall and pay to keep us out. That's probably, at this point, their government in Mexico is probably less corrupt than our government. And maybe there's just enough moral turpitude left of the politicians in Mexico. Because you don't hear about too many riots in Mexico, or the Philippines for that matter. Maybe they'll just say, we don't want the Americans in our country. It's possible, Steve. I know it sounds bizarre compared to what was going on, but maybe the Mexican government wouldn't allow the riots to take place. I don't know. So let me ask Mr. Trump, what do you want to know? Are you going to prosecute Hillary, yes or no? No. Why? Are you kidding? I like living in the White House. So she could stop you from living in the White House? She could stop you from living in the White House, that's right. Okay. All right, so what about Epstein? What about Epstein? My boy, my friend Epstein. How long have you been friends with Mr. Epstein? We go way back in our 20s. You saw the pictures. You're asking stupid questions, Mr. Fazio. I saw that you and Jeffrey Epstein have been friends since the 1970s. Yep. And how come, with all the trips that you went with Mr. Not so many. Not like Hillary. Not like Bill. Not like those other people. But several. But that was business. Business. We kept it above board. You mean like that time on the plane? We don't talk about that. We got away with that shit. What about the time you grabbed the woman's cat by the head? We don't talk about that either. So you admit that you grabbed a woman's cat by the head? It's not so hard to admit that. Didn't you ever do that? We're not talking about me, Mr. Trump. We're talking about you. Okay, so who out there never grabbed a cat? Who out there never petted a cat? But Mr. Trump, you said it on the news that you were grabbing and petting the cat. Yeah, and what's the point? The point is, does it matter? No. And why? Because I'm president. Now shut the hell up. Okay, so I guess that's it. Mr. Trump has spoken. You could do anything when you're president. You could be friends with anybody. You could say anything to get to be president. And you don't have to do any of the things you said. Is that right? That's about right. Put me back up on the shelf. Okay, Mr. Trump. All right, so until next time, that's an amazing thing. Mr. Trump lied about everything. Everything. He lied about everything. And he was the only choice. And he will be the only choice if he decides to run. That man is, 79? Going on 80 by the time the election comes around, I think. He might just decide not to run, and Mr. Biden will be your president. Now, Steve mentioned that Biden can't remember his last name. Apparently, that happened. I don't know. I believe it, though. He's not the brightest bulb in the bunch. I would make a much better president. Michael Fazio for president 2020, baby. Just remember. Blue Rose. Now, you know how I give out credits? Shit and shittier. That's correct. Once again, our choice is shit and shittier, says Steve Montelli, when it comes to the political choices. Blue Rose is the person to blame. If you want to blame somebody for the up-and-coming live stream on Sunday, where there will be the 47 Fazio edicts, rules, with, of course, the primary directive 01010101, that being it is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than the other way around. Blue Rose is responsible for the addition of the Ferengi rules of acquisition, and if you want to blame somebody for the 10,000 addendums I'll go over, this could be a very long series. You blame Blue Rose, because he reminded me about the Ferengi running the universe. And in fact, when you boils right down to it, if you could, the head of Pfeiffer, I think it's Pfeiffer Drug Industry, the entire board of directors, whoever is a board of director for Pfeiffer, I think it was, whoever isn't Jewish, their wife is Jewish, typically. Okay, so you got to remember that corporate America is run by the Jewish people. If you don't believe it, who gives a flying crap what you believe, what you don't believe? Those are the facts. Pfeiffer, Bear, Aspirin. Now, he was a German originally, but Bear Aspirin now bought Roundup. And Roundup are just giant Jewish corporations that own a company that sells weed solution that kills weeds. And now Bear Aspirin, the company that sells aspirin, has teamed up with Roundup. But it gets better. I'm going to show you what I got over here. You guys are not going to believe this. For the people that are not paying attention to what's going on, I'm going to go over there and get a box about this big, and you're going to see what Bear Aspirin has their name on. You're not going to believe this. What? Now, I got to tell you beforehand to the people out there that, there's rats. Fazio has rats in his house. Well, so does every other house in the Philippines have rats. So, and they're not in the house anymore. We got that one. But there was one in the house. You leave the door open at night, they come in. Okay, don't kid yourself. A rat is not afraid to keep to come up and climb in through an open doorway, with or without the lights, with the computer on. They're looking for food. So here, let's see what we're doing here. I gotta find it. Whoa, this is not the one. There's another box I have. Well, anyway, these glue boards, if you go to the, these are the ones that work pretty good. If you go into the store and you look for the glue boards, this is one, this is a couple of years old. It's just an empty box, but, well, it has a glue board in it that doesn't have enough sticky to work, but I just kept it there to remind me. I have another box. It says Bayer Aspirin. Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R, Bayer Aspirin on it. That's what it says. So Bayer Aspirin, oh wait, that wasn't the box. Bayer Aspirin, that wasn't the box I was looking for. Hold on, I gotta get your box. Ah, okay. I don't have the box anymore. The box said Bayer. It was rat poison. You got to give me a minute. I'll be back. Let me look for it in a different place. All right, nope, I can't find it. But it said Bayer rat poison, and it was made by the company Bayer Aspirin. So that's what they, that's what Bayer Aspirin has now sells rat poison pellets. And then they just bought, now this was, they've been selling these rat poison pellets long before they became partners with Roundup, but all of the people that I could look up on the board of directors for Bayer Aspirin, for whatever information you could look up on those people, they're all Jewish. So Roundup is the biggest company, and I think Roundup was also the company that was the originator of Agent Orange, which is responsible for tens of thousands of people getting cancer and dying from Agent Orange. It's a defoliation poison that they would spray it on a forest. But they didn't just dump it on the forest before the men from the Vietnam troops got to the air. They dumped it on the forest with the men in the forest. Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, South Vietnamese, or Americans, or English, or British soldiers. They just dumped it on and killed that stuff killed everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did, Warren. That Agent Orange was, I mean, that stuff would kill. Within like 2 or 3 days, everything was dead. Trees, weeds, leaves, grass, everything dead. Everything. And the people that they got it on, the people, what, you think you're in those men were in a forest or a jungle? Mostly it's forest, but in a jungle, most of you don't know the difference between a forest and a jungle, but there is a big difference. The jungle is where all of the foliage is getting the sunlight, and the vegetation is very, very dense, and the growth, vines and all the different types of flora and fauna. They thrive in that part. It's like, but then once the tree starts to build up, and they have a canopy on top of, from the top layers of the trees, that's a forest. So you could have a jungle, and the jungle could be for a very long distance, but then it becomes a forest. Unless there is no canopy, then it remains a jungle. But typically you'll have a jungle, and then you'll have old growth, which has a canopy, and then you'll have a forest. But when they dumped that stuff in Vietnam, everything died. I don't know about the animals. I'm not a doctor about that. But Agent Orange was made by the same company that makes Roundup. Roundup is now partners with Bayer Aspirin. Bayer Aspirin is partners with different pharmaceutical companies all over the world. And their board of directors and all their major investors are all, for the most part, the bigger people, the big picture people. They're all Jewish. You can believe what you want, but that's just the way the world works. You can go, it's in the book. It's in the book. Things I Know by Mike Fazio. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. Now, we have a different situation here in the Philippines whereas America is run pretty much by the elite, and the elite are pretty much Jewish. Not all, but more than 90%. Okay, here's the way it works. 2% of America is Jewish. Of that 2%, 1% is male. Of that 1%, we get 70% of our politicians, lawyers, judges, and corporate executives. So 70% of our lawyers, judges, corporate executives, and owners of big business like Home Depot, Walmart, Walgreens. Green is a Jewish name, by the way. 70% of all the corporate owners and their leadership are Jewish. But that comes out of the 1% Jewish male, and out of that 1% of the Jewish male, half of them are not of age or don't go involved with the corporate world. So basically, 1/4 of 1% of the population accounts for 70% of the Jewish, 70% of all lawyers, all doctors, all politicians, all corporate executives. So 1/4 of 1% runs our world. And that's fact. Now, if you go to Mr. Trump's immediate cabinet, the 10 people that he surrounds himself with, those 10 people, his inner circle, I'm not sure if 7 or 8 of those people are Jewish. 3 of them definitely have dual citizenship with Israel. That leaves 4 that I believe are Jewish. And of the 3 that are not Jewish, his immediate surrounding cabinet members, his inner circle, 1 or 2 of those 3 people are married to a dual citizen of Israel. So if they're not dual citizens, their wife or spouse is. If you don't think that the Ferengi run the universe, you are sadly mistaken. So I think I covered the basis. Oh, so I talked about everything except getting home from the city yesterday. Nightmare. Okay, so it's in the title, so I'll talk about it. Yep. So, we had the 2-hour wait at the bank. We had the hour wait at immigration. We had the 2-hour plus wait at Globe. We had the 20-minute conversation with the manager of the store in ICM that gave me the runaround, and I had to ask her 40 questions to get 3 answers. I'm not going to buy it from them, okay? The computer. Now I'm done. I go I go from the ICM mall. I walk outside and I go to the Jeepney terminal, and there's no Jeeps. So we went from typically, this is by the vegetable market, the wet market. Typically there would be 35 or 40 Jeepneys in the parking lot, either ready to leave or leaving or resting before their next trip. 35 to 40, sometimes more, sometimes less. But there's always 30 Jeepneys outside, right? That's fact. There's zero. Now, in the morning, there's less than in the afternoon, but we're talking 4 o'clock now, 10 minutes to 4. So I said to them, there's nobody that represents a Jeepney. There's no drivers. There's nobody having late lunch. There's nobody from the Jeepney at the terminal, at the Jeepney terminal. Nobody. Yes, Jack Thompson. Jack Thompson is going to be responsible for several concepts, including where Jack Thompson and I are working on the fact that I met Joe Namath yesterday, and I think that's pretty damn interesting that I got to meet Joe Namath in person, but we'll talk about that next week. So there's nobody at all. Blue Rose. Blue Rose. That is not, wait a second, that's not acquisition 47, Blue Rose. That's not it. That's 27, if I remember correctly. I'm going to turn this around. That's 27. It's 27. Where's 27? What did you say, 47? No. 47 is don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own. Yeah, well, I could show you that. I know for a fact that's not 47, Blue Rose. You need to go back to 47 is right here. Don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own. Now, I don't know what number it is, but I know it's before that one. Okay, that's rule number 1, Blue Rose. I knew it wasn't 47. Once you have their money, you never give it back. That's acquisition number 1. I'm going to do the rules next week when I end. Blue Rose, and to think that Blue Rose is the actual entity, the actual physical reason I'm adding the rules of acquisition. These are the this is by a and Blue Rose even gave me the note. I can't believe he screwed that up so bad. It's rule 1 is once you have their money, you never give it back. And that's from in DS9, the Nagus Heart of Stone. That's the series that it came in. And never allow. Rule number 3, never allow your family to stand in the way of an opportunity. But we'll go over those rules later on, but I can't believe Blue Rose got that one so wrong. That's rule 1, Blue Rose. Oh, God, I can't. I got people giving me information and then giving you. That's right, buddy. That's right. You need to go back and refresh. I knew right away as soon as you said it was 47 because I've been reading the rules on a regular basis. And it's rule number 1. That's right. That's right. Jack Thompson was a football star. You know, I know there's a lot of people out. Jack Thompson was a football star, and he was a very big fan of Joe Namath. And when I was in the city, I got to talk to somebody, and then bingo, Joe Namath just appeared out of nowhere. It was an amazing thing. And I didn't really get to talk to him that much. He was surrounded with so many people, the coattail hangers on her. But Jack and I were talking about that this morning, and Jack was talking about how towards the end of Joe Namath's career, he was really screwing up he was dropping a lot of footballs. I mean, like you could never, well, I don't know what it's called when they pull the football out of your hand. A steal. You could never steal the football from Joe Namath, but towards the end of Joe Namath's career, those stripping the quarterback of the ball, he was dropping a lot of footballs towards the end of his career. So I will talk about Joe Namath. I'll do some research and I'll find out how many footballs he dropped and when and why he dropped them and how he got addicted to alcohol. I mean, Jack was telling me some of the stuff, but like Blue Rose, I mean, Blue Rose said that rule number 47 was really rule number 1. I mean, these guys, they have half the story, but I like to do my research, and I'm going to be researching Joe Namath and how many balls he threw, how many footballs he dropped, how many he made an end run around the defense, and how many touchdowns he got. I'll have all the stats on Joe Namath. Hopefully, he's a very old man, very, very old, frail man, but hopefully I'll have all of these statistics. I mean, you don't know how long he's going to live. What he's doing in the Philippines, I don't even know. But you don't know how long he's going to live, and I want to get these stats up, and I do have some pictures that I might post, I might not. They're not real good pictures. And I mean, Joe Namath is Joe Namath, but if you looked at the pictures, you wouldn't know that it was Joe Namath. So I have a lot of work to do with, and I don't know, maybe I'll incorporate the Joe Namath stats into my Sunday morning Super Chat on Demand and the 10,000 Rules of Acquisition. I could work with Blue Rose on this because he knows he needs a reevaluation. I have to reevaluate his understanding. There's 947 rules of acquisition, both major and minor rules. That's a fact. And those rules have 10,000 additional addendums with the caveat that any rule could be changed on any given day. If there is no rule for a situation that you're in, you could make one up if you're a nagus. A nagus is like a king of an empire. So if you're a Ferengi nagus, or the head of a starship, the captain of a starship, if you're a Ferengi nagus, you could make up a rule. So that's one of the 10,000 rules of acquisition. Steve Montelli is back. How's everything? Steve Montelli, Mr. Obama. Steve, coming in from the left side. You hanging left today, Mr. Obama? Hanging left today. Just Steve. We give Steve a little mix-em-up. Yesterday we were hanging right. Today we're hanging left. So how do you wear your pants, Mr. Obama? With an extra inseam with Steve Montelli's name stitched into the inseam. So you have Steve Montelli's name stitched on the inseam of your pants. Which side would that be? Right. And which side do you wear your pants on? Left. So basically, where Steve is, if Steve could see from where the stitching is, he'd be able to see you wearing your pants left. Is that correct? That's right. So when Steve says that I have to check with Michael Obama about footballs, what does he mean? Oh, that's personal. So Do you want to talk to Steve about it? I will. I'll give it to Steve. I'll give Steve the goods when I see him. Okay, so Steve, this is something Mr. Obama doesn't want to talk about. Not publicly, but he said he's going to give you the goods and then that's right, Michael. Michael goes next. Size order. Do you not remember, Mr. Fazio? Do you not remember when you was in the school? Size first, not name. Okay, all right, Mr. Obama, don't get all upset. How many fucking times do I have to tell you, Mr. Fazio? Size, small, medium, large. And what are you, Mr. Obama? I'm large. And what about Mike? Extra, extra large. And what about Steve? What about Steve, Mr. Obama? Steve's going home with a big smile on his face. All right. So, Steve, Mr. Obama got something that'll make you smile. Anything else, Mr. Obama? Let's give him a little idea. Mr. Fazio, hold on. Steve, wait there for a minute. Steve, just pretend that these bad boys were like a Lipton's tea bag. And I was holding these bad boys, and they was swinging those bad boys around in your cup of tea. That's right. Remember, we're going to leave a nut out for you, Steve, like Hotel 6. Hotel 6 leaves a light on for you. Mike's going to leave a nut out there for you in front of the White House. Steve loves you. All right, Mr. Obama, thank you very much. So, Mr. Obama said that Big Mike is going to leave a nut out there for you. So, all right, we have Super Chat. Oh, my God, you guys with the stupid chat. All right. All right, so going back to Blue Rose half-truthful statement, Blue Rose said, the Filipino businessmen has adopted the 47th rule of acquisition. Once you have their money, you never give it back. So actually, I think Blue Rose only made a mistake because of the 47 rules of Super Chat on Demand. And then there's a confusion because the primary directive is not actually a rule. So I think I know where Blue Rose made his mistake. So we have the 47 rules of Super Chat on Demand, which we know about. And then we have the primary directive, which is 01010101, which is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than the other way around. Then we have the first rule of acquisition. So in theory, what Blue Rose got confused was he thought that where the 47 rules of Super Chat ended, 47, and the 947 rules, both major and minor, of the rules of the Ferengi in acquisitions and addendums. Blue Rose really didn't miss it by much. He just got the word 47 mixed up with 1. Because there's the 47 rules, the primary directive, and then rule 1. So he's really, I think he had the right idea, but he just forgot the prime directive, 0101010101. He forgot the prime directive and then mistakenly thought that rule 1 was rule 47. So he doesn't have a lot of studying to do. He just has to remember the formulas. The formulas are 47 plus the prime directive back to rule 1 of 947 plus the 10,000 addendums and or the option to add a rule at any given time, which exists for both as the primary directive and one of the rules in the first 47 and in the 947 rules, both major and minor, plus the rules of acquisition. It's not It's really not that complicated once you get involved with reading everything and studying these things. So Jack Thompson says, I was talking about Joe Namath, and towards the end of his career, he drank a lot of alcohol, and he was dropping footballs left and right. So Jack was a football player, and I find this hard to believe. I call bullshit. Like Steve has the bullshit button, but when Steve says something is wrong, he goes like this on his desk. Bullshit. I call bullshit on Jack Thompson. You played football, but you never dropped the football in your entire life. I call bullshit. Bullshit. Thanks, Steve. Take it easy, Blue Rose. Jack Thompson, you girls wear padding when you play football. We wear shorts and a t-shirt. That is some strange-ass shit that you play, that rugby stuff. I gotta tell you. I don't know how your knees last till the time you're 25 years old. So Jack Thompson, super chat, baby. Super chat. Jack Thompson says, dropping footballs on the screen. I see blues, I see green, I see orange too. Dropping footballs on the screen. So I don't see a football on the stickers. They probably have stickers. Instead of the super chat, you could buy the stickers with footballs on them. Maybe you should try again. Try getting it right this time. Blue and Blue Rose, I gotta tell you, give me all kinds of ideas for shows, and then you come up with half truths. If I was to hear the word dropping footballs on the screen, I would have thought you would have had a sticker with a football on it. That's what I would have thought. Now, that's not a hint, and I'm not asking you for a sticker with a football on it. But if you're going to do something, you should do it right. Like when I corrected Blue Rose, I didn't know what the truth was, but I knew it wasn't Rule 47. Because I memorized a lot of rules. I like to know which rules I'm breaking and when I'm breaking those rules. Larry Sinclair needs to come on the show. Larry, I got to tell you, Larry Sinclair's been gone a long time. He still has a website on YouTube, but Larry Sinclair died, from my memory. That's so funny. Steve, I'm glad I could assist you. There's Steve Jack. Steve, Mr. Obama has a special place for you. And that would be on the inseam of his right leg so that you could see him wearing his pants to the left. The addendums are infinite, says Jack Thompson. I used to play full contact ping pong. Steve Montelli gives me love. The love is in the air, the hearts. As soon as I mentioned the inseam, I got love from Steve Montelli. Yeah, the knees don't let. I've watched rugby. I have a friend of mine. You wouldn't know him by name, but rest assured, if you lived in New York City, you bought something that went through his business. And I would never mention the name of his business. But he played rugby. And he was trying to get a rugby team back together in the 70s. And it didn't work out. He destroyed his knees. I don't know if both knees went in the same game or both knees went shortly after he started playing rugby. He was an Irishman, and that's all I'll tell you, that he was Irish. And the funny thing about this guy, where we grew up, it was Irish, Italian, German, Jewish, and that's pretty much it. I had a Polish friend, but that was the only Polish person I knew. So it was Irish, German, Italian, and Jewish. This guy was, not just was he was Irish with red hair and freckles. But, okay, so he was, let's just say he was 7 years older than me. He taught me how to spit through my teeth, like shoot like a stream out. He also taught me how to curse. So I remember him teaching me how to curse we were playing inside a bridge, and I remember him teaching me how to curse, how to say F you and suck this and play that and go to the. So one of the things he taught me is when you have to go to the bathroom and do number one, you say, "Look, I'm going to take a pee," but use the word PISS, right? So I didn't think nothing of it. I'll tell you how young I was. I couldn't have been much more than 5 years old. I mean, because I was in the bathtub. I got a beating that day. I'll never forget the beating my mother gave me. My mother gave me a freaking beating that day. I only think my mother hit me a couple of times, maybe 4 or 5 times in my whole life. That day, I got a beating. So I said, my mother put me in the tub, and I stood up at the end of the tub, and I peed outside the tub on the floor. She was like in the bathroom because she was giving us a bath. We were just little kids. And what did you say? I said, "Look, Mommy, I'm taking a..." And she smacked me so freaking hard. "You don't say that. Who taught you how to say that?" So I told her. And the next day she was at the Irish guy's house. We were all friends. The Irish guy had a sister that was my age. She's still alive, too. But, yeah, she was at the Irish guy's house telling his mother to tell him to stop teaching. I told her. He taught everybody how to curse. What else did he... And I told her all the curse words that he taught me. But anyway, him and I, we remain friends till this day. And I actually have a video of him. I would never put it on YouTube, though. But from my 2016 visit to America, he actually, that guy, aside from having a good job, that guy, there's probably not a person in the city that hasn't bought something through one of his companies. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, I remember telling my mother, "Look, Mom, I'm taking a piss," and I pissed right all over the floor. That's not what I got in trouble for. That's not what I got in trouble for. I got in trouble for saying the word. What else did he teach you? Yeah. And she went over to his mother's house, and I don't know if he got in trouble, but he stopped giving out free lessons on how to curse. I mean, he taught us every curse there was. I mean, this was like a whole day that we just stayed. It might have been raining. We were under the bridge. Spent the whole day teaching us how to do shit. Shit that really came in handy later on, though, I'll tell you that. Steve Montella giving Mr. Obama's inseam a little love. There's nothing like love for Mr. Obama. So, Jack says rugby players are real men. Rugby. That's what it is, rugby. And he played. I don't. Wait a second. It might not have been his knees. It might have been his hip that was broken because he could not ever play rugby again. I think that's what it was. I think they broke his hip. And when he was in the huddle, after his hip broke, he was, you know how they hold shoulders? Something happened where he couldn't fall down and he couldn't scream because he was in so much pain. It monkeyed him up for life. Even when I saw him in 2016, and this is going back into the 70s, he was still walking funny. Jack Thompson says, they are real men. You have to shoot those guys 10 times and they would still beat your ass. Yeah? And Warren says, mothers are fun killers. Fun killers. Mothers are fun. Well, I mean, you know, you got to remember that we're talking 1960, okay? And it was 1960 because that's when the bridge was, that bridge was there at that time, that back then where we hung out underneath before there was another bridge. So, yeah, I got my ass kicked for that. Mothers are fun killers. So if anybody has a question, let me know. And, okay, Steve, thanks for stopping by. Remember, Steve, Mr. Obama's going to leave, you guessed it, Mike is going to leave a nut out for you in front of the, this way you'll know what room to go in when you see the giant nut for Steve Montelli. There be love. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, feel free to ask any of these ridiculous. Bye-bye, Steve. Love. Salamat. I feel honored that you stopped by. Thank you, Steve. I really love listening to you and talking to you. And one day I hope we get to meet each other. That'd be nice. Thank you. All right, so Warren and Jack Rose, would you guys like me to put a live a Skype call together for you, for the four of us? You think that's possible? I'll wait here for a few minutes. If you guys want to do that, or any one of you three, if you want me to call you, I did want to talk to Jack. Okay. All right. Good night. And then Blue Rose, I know you'll be up for 2 more hours. What about you, Warren? Is it possible to call you on Skype yet, or should I just send you a message in the mail? All right. Thank you, Warren. All right. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. And it's been real. Remember, I didn't exaggerate at all about 200 phone calls to get this computer. And I'm going to buy that computer. I mean, and again, I'll say it. I can order this computer and have it here in 5 days from America. But, well, once things open up. But no warranty, which would mean I'd have to ship it back to America or pay for the repair myself. Now, this is an expensive computer, and a repair could be, if it's under warranty, it says global warranty. I don't even know what the hell that means. But it does mean if you buy it in the Philippines, it will fix anything in the computer, parts and labor. That's what that means. But whether or not they honor that, I don't know. But if you buy it in America, no warranty. All warranties are void. Nothing. You could send it back to America, so it would take 5 weeks, 4 weeks to get back to America, 3 weeks to get... You wouldn't have a computer each time it broke for 3 to 5 weeks. Not going to do that. All right, so let's go. Let's go back to the... All right, so we have Warren and Jack, and Blue Rose didn't answer. So I'll look for you in a minute, and perhaps you'll be around. and Warren is going to the doctors. We, of course, always wish Warren well. Thank you, Warren, for stopping by, and Salamat, thank you very much for the stupid chat. He went to study. There you go. To the boards. Yeah, baby, I forgot all about that. He doesn't want to make 2 mistakes in a week. He could be put on time. We could time him out. Thank you, Warren. That was very astute of you. All right, gentlemen, thank you. I don't know who else is here. See, this is what I mean about we all have our trolls. So I've been talking to basically 4 people for the last hour, and there's 12 people. So we have 8 people sitting there taking my stuff apart, and well, you should. There's enough material there for you to get an idea how blogging should be done. I'll give you a little... I'll tell you what, to you guys out there that are trolling, remember, Jesus loves you. And you know that Jesus loves you because he's smiling, he's got money, and remember Jesus, remember the Church of Christians Plus, where the cross means it is better for you to give to Michael Fazio than the other way around. Yeah, baby. I feel like a Zen Buddhist monastery monk. All right. See you guys later. Thanks for watching. Remember, it's more fun in the Philippines, baby. I'm Ping Permy. June 3rd. Oh, whoa. We're not done yet. Wait a second. We're not done yet. June 3rd, 1999. That was the day I bought my first house, first property in Florida. That was the day the first day I lived and closed I closed on the house on June 3rd. And I couldn't live in the house because the house had 2 tenants in it that I agreed to let stay there as long as they paid the rent. And they didn't pay the rent. They didn't pay the rent. One moved out about a week. Yeah, the one on the ground floor. The one on the ground floor stayed for about 3 weeks, and the woman on the top floor, I don't remember what it was. Yeah, you want to hear a story? This is a strange story, right? This is no joke, though. All right, so I'm in my work clothes like this, my Rockscapes work clothes. I always had this business. And, well, as soon as I got to Florida, I got that license back in 1990. I had it before I bought the house. So I bought the house on June 3rd, 1999. I closed on the house. So I'm in my work clothes, and I had my work van, which was a real piece of junk, an old beat-up 1976 Ford E150. It was one of those 1970s vans with the little sink and shag rug and captain's chairs and a stereo and an ice box, but it was a real piece of junk when I pulled into the driveway, because when I lived across the canal from the house I lived in. The apartment that I lived in was across the canal from the house I bought. You could see one house from the other. Not exactly straight across, but you could see them. From my deck on my apartment, I could see that house. But I worked on Pete's fishing lobster boat, and I went by the house every day. So when somebody said, my real estate agent said, turned out, there's a house on North Channel Drive, because I had the ability to buy a house and mortgage a house up to $200,000. I had the $20,000 deposit, and then I had the closing fees And that would give me like 6 months mortgage on a house up to $200,000. But they were all junk. They were all on the bay side of the Florida Keys, and they were all on brackish water. And I wouldn't live on the bay side of the Florida Keys if you gave me the biggest, most baddest ass house in America on the bay side of the Florida Keys. I wouldn't live in it. First of all, they got crocodiles. Second of all, they have unlimited amounts of mosquitoes day and night, 24/7, 365 days a year. Different than the ocean side. The water's different, the fauna is different, the flora is different, and they have crocodiles. Okay, so after looking at 2, possibly 3 houses in that price range, what the hell was her name? Mike and his wife's name. But anyway, Mike's wife said, there's a house on North Channel Drive, but it's out of your price range. I says, how much is it? She goes, $238. All right, let's see which house it is. So she showed me the house, and I said to her, let's go back to the office. I'm giving you a check for $10,000. I want that house. I want that house. Don't make any mistake about it. I'm buying that house. She goes, but you don't have the money. I said, you don't have to worry about that. I'll go back to New York. I'll get a truckload of merchandise, tools, equipment that I'm going to need in Florida anyway, and I'll have a garage sale. And I'll get the difference of money in goods from my tools that I don't need, doubles, triples, and new tools that I just will rebuy if I need them. But I'll have the money for the house in, tell them I need 60 days, but here's 10,000 now, and I'll get you more tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. The rest of the money, the money was I had 10,000 in my checking, and I had more in my bank, but they didn't have cell phones back in 1999, so I had to go to the bank to transfer it. Anyway, I get Carol, her name was Mike and Carol. I give them the check, and I said, can I go on the property? She goes, better that you don't go on the property until you sign the contract and you own the house. She goes, it just causes a lot of problems for the current landlord if you back out. I said, okay, so I'll honor your wishes. So I didn't. So on June 3rd, I go to the house. I buy the house. It's my house. We spend the morning with the real estate agent and the I don't know, whatever, I forgot the name of the office that takes care of all the paperwork, the closing papers. So we spend the morning with bye Warren. Spend the morning with you know how many freaking properties I bought and sold, and I forget the name because it's already now 10 years, 20 years, no, 15 years since I bought a property. Anyway, I'll remember the name of it. And I close, the closing agent. I close, and I drive up to the house in my old truck, and I knock on the ground floor, and I told the man, it was a man, and I said, I bought this house. I'm going to give you the option to stay or leave. He goes, well, I don't really believe you, but I'm going to stay. I said, okay, you're welcome to stay. And I'm going to keep the rent the same. Not going to raise the rent because the rent would have paid pretty much my mortgage. I lived in a beautiful apartment right across the canal, and I had a good job working on the fishing boat. So I go upstairs and I knock on the door. And the lady, nobody answers the door, but I hear music. So I knock on the door again. And she opens up the blinds. Now, I don't blame her for not wanting to open up the door, but what do you want? Well, I just wanted to let you know I just bought this property. Yeah? So what? I said, well, I'm going to give you the option to stay or you can leave. Yeah. And she lets the blinds go. So I knocked on the door again, and I said, I don't think you understand. I don't have to let you stay. I'm just going to ask you, you're going to have to sign a contract. I'll have the contract ready in a few days. You're going to have to sign a lease with me. Yeah. So she opens up the door, and with that, they were smoking pot. And which is okay. I didn't care. That's not my business. You know, whether I own the house or not, what they do inside those doors is none of my business. So she goes, did you really buy the house? I said, yeah, I really did. Yeah, well, we don't have to sign any contract. No, you don't actually have to sign any contract, but if you don't sign the contract, I'm going to ask you to leave. So she slammed the door in my face. So the next thing I know, I had a job working at Chris Carson's Marine Service. You all know about that. So I had Chris Carson's Marine Service was one job, and working on the fishing boat during lobster season was my other job. And with that, the police come to Chris Carson's Marine Service. I gave her the telephone number to Chris Carson's Marine Service. And apparently she called him up and asked him if I worked out, and Chris said yeah. And the police came to the job. And it was like, are you serious? What are you here for? Because at that point, I didn't think I did anything wrong. So the detective says, are you Michael Fazio? Yeah. Did you just come from 31 North Channel Drive? I said, yes. He goes, well, we have a complaint that you threatened the tenant to throw her out. Well, I didn't threaten her, but what I bought the house this morning. I closed on the house about 11 o'clock. That's my house. So it's my option if I want to let the tenant stay or leave. How do we know that's true? So I went to the car and I got the papers that I own the house. Because she filed a complaint that I threatened to throw her out of the house, which I did not. I just said, would you like to stay? You have to sign a new contract. Okay, so the police knew Mike and Carol, and they also knew the closing agent, Phil, his name was. I forget the name of the business. I know what the business does, but Phil was the agent. So they called Phil up on speed dial from their phone because there were only like three closing agents and a couple of real estate agents, Mar Properties, Phil's closing agency, and asked Phil if these papers were legitimate. Like I had a stack of papers like that of court documents that I had to put into a safe place. I own the house. So they found out that I own the house. I said, so how could I be trespassing on my own property? He said, well, you can't. I said, well, you know what I suggest you do? I suggest you go back to the house find a woman, and I didn't mention anything about the pot, and tell her that I'm going to ask her to leave tomorrow, and I will serve her the papers from the sheriff's office in the morning. And he said, well, maybe she made a mistake. I said, no, she knew what she was doing. She was going to get me in trouble with the police. And I talked to that woman like she was my best friend. So here's what I did. You want to talk about something? So if you don't pay your rent, if you don't pay the rent in the Florida Keys, the sheriff comes to your house and puts a note on your door. You have 14 days to pay the rent This is the Florida Keys. It's not Florida. It's not the state of Florida. It's not Homestead. It's not Miami. It's the Florida Keys. Puts a note on your front door. It says you have four. So it's a notice. You don't have to accept the notice. You don't have to be there for the notice. You don't even have to. You can take the notice and throw it on the floor. He puts it on your front door with gluey tape. It's done deal. You have 14 days to pay the rent and penalties or get out. And here's how they get you out. The police bring a crew of movers that take your personal possessions on the 15th day and they put them at the curb. And you could either pick them up, leave them there, let the garbage men take them away. But in 15 days, the police are coming to your house with a crew of professional movers to put your stuff on the street. I need water. And it's different once you take possession of a house where I bought the house. If I bought the house, it's my house. I paid, you don't know what I paid down as a deposit, but I paid it down. And in 1997, my first mortgage was $2,180 a month for the mortgage, and another $7,000 a year for taxes and insurance. So it came out to about $2,900 for my mortgages and my taxes, school taxes, all that shit. So, all right, so I go to the police station and I said, I want to give them a 14-day notice. And the commander of the police, Lieutenant Finelli, Lieutenant Finelli, 1997, Lieutenant Finelli. He was a friend of mine. He said, Mike, you don't have to wait 14 days. We can throw them out in 48 hours. Because he knew I was buying the house. Because I had just taken all the tests to be a police officer in the Florida Keys. So Lieutenant Finelli says, we just asked them to leave within 48 hours. Because he got the paperwork. I took off the rest of the afternoon. I went straight to the police station and I saw him in person. And he said, we'll just give them a 48-hour notice and we'll give them that at 5 o'clock tonight. So they'll have tomorrow and the next day and we come in and move them out. So I said, do you think that's enough time? He goes, what do you care? She was going to put you in jail. That woman was going to have me arrested for trespassing, even though there was no gate on the property at the time, and there was no do not enter signs, but she was going to file charges that I somehow came on the property. It was my property. So I said, okay, you do that to Lieutenant Finelli. He signs the paper. Oh yeah, that's just the beginning. So I said, can I go back with you to put the papers on the door? He said, no, but you could be there when we get there. He says, I couldn't go back in the car. I said, yeah, that's what I mean. Can I go back on my property? Because she's saying I was trespassing. He goes, it's your property. You can do whatever you want. So I went back, and the police officer came with me, not Lieutenant Finelli. And I knocked on the door with the police officer next to me, and she's going, yeah, that's him. That's him. And the police officer said, no, we have papers for you, ma'am. And she said, what is it about? And he said, well, you have a 48 hours to vacate the premises, but you can't do any damage, otherwise you'll be arrested. So we need to come in and inspect the premises. This is the new owner. He's going to take pictures. And then if you decide to not let us in, well, that's your prerogative. She did not have to let the police officer or myself in, but if there's any damage, the landlord of the house, before I bought the house, had 2 months security. The security automatically becomes my security if the tenants did any damage on leaving. That was in our closing contract. So she goes, he goes, ma'am, I don't care what you believe. This man, Michael Fazio, he's the new owner of the property. You can choose to move out, or in 48 hours from now at 5 o'clock, we will come and move your property to the street. You don't have 3 days. You have 48 hours to be gone. That's up to you, ma'am. So the owner of the property came, and to be honest, there was nothing. She did no damage at all. They didn't scratch a floor or break a tile in the bathroom or a toothbrush holder or anything like that. And I said, give her back her money. And I moved in that day. I moved in the same day. I just went in there, cleaned it up, and I moved in. And yeah, that was my first tenant. That was my first experience in the Florida Keys. So she was really upset about that. She was like, I can't believe I did this to you. Are you serious? She was freaking screaming and crying on the last day. I'm going, you were going to have me arrested. You thought I trespassed. I told you I bought the freaking property. I had the papers with me. You just wouldn't open the door. Anyway, yeah, that was my first experience as a landlord. It's not easy being a landlord. It's really not easy being a landlord. You got to be a psychiatrist. Unless you get a good tenant. But it's not easy to be a landlord. Some of those stories you hear are the problems caused by the landlord, and some of them are caused by the tenants. But I would say that most of them are caused by the tenants. There's a lot of people out there. The tenants, except in the Florida Keys, have more rights than the landlord. I'll never forget that lady's face either. About 10 years later, I saw her at wasn't Captain Bly. It was Captain Bly's hotel, but and I forget the name of those. I only went to those places by boat. It was one of those bars that you go to by boat. It was about 10 years later, and I see this lady staring at me like this. She was going like that. So I walked over to her and her friends, and they all knew me. You know, I knew everybody because I worked on the fishing boats, and they were all fishermen at the bar. And they go, yeah, that's the woman. I said, what's up? She goes, you remember her? I'm going, no, I don't. I mean, her face looks familiar, but I don't know if I met her in a bar. I worked in bars. I worked in not a bouncer, but a doorman. I worked on boats. I worked on fishing boats. I worked at the trap house. I mean, I worked on a lot of, yeah, that was the tenant you threw out on the street. I'm going, and what exactly did she say? She gave a whole different version of the story. What I just told you was true. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's it. If anybody is still watching, 11 it says. I don't know if that's true or not, Blue Rose. I'm going to call you in about 60 seconds, okay? All right, there you go. Humping. Thanks for... Yeah, I could go into that full story. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day. Oh. It's hot in here. And I can't put the AC on because it makes so much damn noise. It blocks out the thing. So I'm actually sweating a lot. I'm giving you my sweating it out like a I feel like Richard Simmons. I probably look like, let's see if there's any sweat coming from the top of my head. Just a little. I could feel it beating up right here. All right, that's it. I'm putting it on now, baby. I'm being permy. Hear it? Hear how loud that damn thing is? Have a nice day.